Voting is a civic duty. Let's register on the electoral list. This is a message from Equinoxe Television.
Good evening to all of you faithful viewers of Equinoxe Television. Welcome back from the weekend. It's time for the news. We thank you so much for joining us tonight. Our major stories this evening. Professor Maurice Kamto meets with a buoyant diaspora in France, Paris precisely. The head of the CRM political party says his greatest ambition is to make a better Cameroon for the next generation. He adds that prohibiting dual nationality in Cameroon will be a thing of the past because the Cameroonian diaspora has huge potentials to take the country forward. Echoes of Professor Maurice Kamto's rally in Paris, France, in this news edition. Plus, the written session of the General Certificate of Education Examination, the GCE Ordinary and Advanced level, begins tomorrow, Tuesday, across the national territory. In the northwest and also in the southwest regions, just like in other parts of the country, students are busy with last-minute preparations. We take you to Boya on the eve of the GCE exams in this news edition. Viewers, those are our lead stories. Details of the stories and more when we come back. Welcome back, viewers. Thank you so much for the confidence. We begin with this human interest story from the nation's political capital, Yaoundé, where security forces have launched a manhunt for a woman who abandoned her 2.5-month-old baby at Terre Rouge. It is a locality in Damas in Yaoundé. Inhabitants of that area in the nation's political capital confirmed getting the cry of a baby late at about 11 p.m. but didn't know it was that of an abandoned baby until the early hours of today. Sumanji can give us more about what happened.
An unusual morning for the inhabitants of Terre Rouge, Damas neighborhood in Yaoundé. In a confirm, the little bag containing few items of a 2.5-month-old baby who was still on the spot where the little child was picked up after crying throughout the night. It was since at about 11 p.m. Sunday that we heard the cry of the child as we were in the sitting room, thinking that the child was with the mother, so we went to bed. All through the night, we heard the child crying until we started asking if the mother was that irresponsible not to take care of her baby. In the little bag of the abandoned child was the hospital booklet, which indicated that the child was born at the district hospital in Efulan, Yaoundé. The child spent all night in the cool air without a shelter.
Early this morning, I was sleeping. I heard the noise. I discovered that people were out. I had to go out to check what was the problem. So when I came out, I saw that they were crying that there's a newborn baby wrapped and thrown somewhere. So we went there. As I came to the scene, I found that this is a new baby. So I had to rush to the commissariat.
Seeing the situation, the quarter head of Terre Rouge immediately informed security forces of the district police station in Efulan, who came to the scene of the discovery.
For now, we don't know the whereabouts of the mother. This is how the baby was lying. But what we did, because the baby was crying, we had to wrap the baby because of cold. That's the only thing. I don't have any problem. For now, I don't know anything.
After some questions from security forces and answers from inhabitants of Terre Rouge, the baby was taken to the police station before transferred to the hospital for checkup. For now, the forces of law and order have opened investigations, but inhabitants of Terre Rouge say they are not aware of any woman who was pregnant in their neighborhood.
Fortunately enough, the baby is alive. And now let's talk about this gigantic meeting of the CRM in Paris, France that was over the weekend. Political analysts hold that Professor Maurice Kamto's presence in Europe, amplified by his mega rally of Saturday in Paris, France, transmits at least 3 major political signals across the Cameroonian political sphere. Beside a show of numerical strength, popularity and support, analysts say that Maurice Kamto is in Europe to mobilize funds for the party. For me, I'm from Sanda reports.
To political analyst Professor Louison Esomba, Professor Maurice Kamto national president of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement CRM party, is in Europe for two major political reasons.
I want to say that Professor Maurice Kamto went to Paris to mobilize finances to the future president's election with SCAMI.
The professor says Maurice Kamto is in Europe to mobilize funds or financial resources to finance the activities of the CRM party and its campaign in the 2025 presidential election in Cameroon. He says political parties require financial resources to be able to facilitate their movement, communication, and the mobilization of their party supporters and sympathizers to be sure of being voted in an election. Secondly, Louison Esomba says the presence of Kamto in Europe is to remobilize his supporters and sympathizers while assuring them of the CRM party's participation in the October 2025 presidential.
He went to mobilize to show that the MSA is the popular party.
As manifested in a mega meeting in Paris, France on Saturday, Louison Esomba says Kamto in Europe also has as objective to showcase his party's popularity and the numerical strength of the CRM within the Cameroonian diaspora. According to United for Cameroon, a non-governmental organization based in Paris, France, the Cameroonian diaspora has approximately 3 million voters, and Professor Louison Esomba says it will be good political business for Professor Maurice Kamto and his CRM party to transform the diaspora popularity into elected positions and political victories back in Cameroon.
And the Paris meeting of Professor Maurice Kamto has attracted convergent and also divergent reactions. Politicians of the Cameroon People's Democratic Movement, their ruling CPDM party, watering down the strength of the meeting and criticizing Professor Maurice Kamto, and the opposition politicians also criticizing those critics. Babila Jonathan compared some reactions in the report. It comes up next.
Presidential aspirant Christian Beaumont-Timban congratulates Cameroonians who converged on Paris to support Professor Maurice Kamto, highlighting the fact that political leaders are persecuted, arrested and detained in Cameroon. Activist Calix Beala says such gatherings are organized abroad because of the country's shrinking civic space. The Deputy Communications Secretary of the Cameroon People's Democratic Movement CPDM political party, Labour Minister Gregoire Ouona, says the attendance was far below the tens of millions of people announced. According to him, most of those present at Place de la République were football fans waiting for the final of the Champions League. He describes Kamto's promise that if he is elected president, nothing will happen to the family of the head of state as lousy. The minister delegate to the Minister of Justice, Jean de Dieu Momo, qualifies Kamto's promise about the head of state as fallacious. They are both lambasted by Professor Jean Baibek, saying they are afraid of gatherings of the opposition, whereas their party pays young people with bread and sardine to partake in their meetings.
We will be talking more on that Paris meeting that would be in the second part of the news. Now let's talk education. Preparations have intensified in some schools in Buea in the southwest region ahead of the commencement of the 2025 session of the written phase of the Cameroon General Certificate of Education, the GCE. Rex Afon in Buea visited the bilingual grammar school Moliko. He presents what he saw in this report.
Here at Bilingual Grammar School Moliko to welcome the over 2,400 candidates who will be writing under the school, plus those of two other centers, that is Government High School Bomaka and Government High School Buea Rural in Bokova.
The innovation this year is that our students, they will not only be at the center and 1 hour before the exams takes off, but they have to be on their seats in their various rooms 1 hour before the start of exams. That's at 7:00 a.m. And anybody who comes 1 minute after 8, you miss that subject for that day. At the level of BGS Moliko, we started putting things in order. We've arranged the classrooms which are used, we've mocked, we've identified, and we've arranged the desks in all the classrooms that we have to use for the exams. We have schools like JHS Bokova, we have JHS Bomaka, is also coming to write here. Moya this year will not be writing here. And I want to say everything has been put in place. So we are ready for a hitch-free GCE come tomorrow.
Also, the exam officials are carrying out final verifications of the materials that will be used during the exams. Very few students have made their way to the campus to check their sitting positions. Only that, the halls are out of bounds for them now. This is part of the measures taken to ensure there is no malpractice. In terms of security, measures have been taken already at the level of the school administration.
In terms of security, we're waiting. The authorities are be, and I know that by tomorrow, now we already have some police people at the gate. By tomorrow, we shall have more of them.
In a few hours, students of both ordinary and advanced levels will begin the written phase of the General Certificate of Education exam in Cameroon.
And still talking about official examinations, the BAPCA also began across the national territory. That was today, Monday. The first subjects were written earlier today. And Mala Glory, the report which comes up next, tells us how the examinations kicked off in Gaundere in the Adamawa region.
Government High School Burkina in the town of Gaundere is the only sub-center for the 2025 BAPC, Brevet d'études du premier cycle of the French subsystem of education, hosting candidates living with disabilities, especially those having impaired hearing. The teachers specialize in sign language as well as the candidates express writing and meet challenges.
We have been faced with the same problem for 6 years already. Those children living with disabilities, particularly the deaf, are not writing in the normal condition as the law permits. But unfortunately, in this sub-center, they are mixed with the normal students. Nous avons été mélangés avec les entendants. Il y a beaucoup d'entendants et nous sommes là et nous ne comprenons rien.
A serious situation which many of these candidates believe the fact that they had little time to write and not separated from other students for better explanation will have an impact on their chances to succeed. Despite all these difficulties, there is a glimmer of hope.
Not too disappointed because we hope that after the examination, they can still be taken into account when correcting the paper.
Out of 404 registered candidates, 4 were absent at the center. This year, the sub-center is receiving 5 candidates living with disabilities. We had students from 3 different fields of studies: German, Arab and Spanish. The invigilators and the school administrators say the presence of the police officials contributed to a hitch-free start of the examination.
In other news, the Pachi Roundabout in Banka, we are now in the west region of the country, is a critical transportation hub, but its third construction project has left the road in a poor condition, causing vehicles to get stuck, with accidents on the rise at that roundabout. Road users are denouncing the poor state of the road, which has greatly impacted negatively economic activities in the area. Immaculate Fogwe reports on the state of the road at the Pachi Roundabout.
A truck's journey abruptly ends when it flips and gets stuck in mud at the Pachi Roundabout in Banka, Upper Cam Division, West Region of Cameroon. The stretch is notorious for strapping vehicles, and the construction project meant to replace a faulty pipe within 4 months has long been halted, frustrating road users. After hours of disrupted traffic, a crane truck is called in to rescue the stranded vehicle.
Cette route qui a été qui subit la pression.
We're given a 4 months deadline for works to end, but it's been over 8 months now and nothing is happening. Drivers go through hell plying on this stretch. We have tried questioning those handling the project, but they are silent. This road has caused several accidents. This strategic intersection is crucial for travelers heading to Banjul, Bafoussam, Bouda and Yaoundé, especially after the Nchanclip landslide that halted circulation. Every day vehicles get stuck. economic activities have been paralyzed here. So many people now rely on this stretch, especially after a tragic incident that occurred at Inchan Cliff. This is a deviation route, but measures should have been taken to make it passable. Locals are eagerly awaiting that the construction project begins so as to revive economic activities around the roundabout. Meanwhile, drivers are forced to take risky detours and road users face challenges making their journey arduous.
And the Cameroon Development Corporation, the CDC, has witnessed an increase in turnover the first time this is happening since its activities were almost paralyzed or crippled by the armed conflict in the southwest region. This led to the accumulation of salary arrears for thousands of workers who took to the streets several times last year to demand for their salaries. During a board meeting which took place in Limbe recently aimed at reviewing the audited accounts for 2024 of the corporation, board members expressed hopes for better days ahead. Let's now have more with Rex Safon.
The Cameroon Development Corporation faced several challenges in 2024, amongst which is protests from disgruntled workers over unpaid salaries. Through government aid, part of the salaries has been paid. During the meeting to review the audited account of the corporation for 2024, the board members expressed their satisfaction with the current state of affairs.
This is a meeting to review the accounts of the year, the audited accounts for the year that ended on the 31st of December 2024, and those audited accounts were approved by the board of directors.
Though the company is still limping out of the damages incurred due to the armed conflict in the northwest and southwest regions, there has been some improvements.
The accounts show promise, even though we are still on a long road of recovery. So some of the numbers that we're going through now, we hope and we expect that would be improved as we go down the line. So in terms of numbers, we approved the accounts that have a total budget of about 110 billion as opposed to 104 for last year, and a turnover of 23 billion. Supposed to 20.
The management encourages workers to be hopeful for better days ahead.
Workers will be hopeful. They should be hopeful. Workers have benefited from the benevolence of the state in terms of arrears payments, and the next disbursement is on track, and we're waiting to finalize that so we can come through as promised by the government.
The members of the board have also examined different sources to generate income for the corporation.
And now over to this advertorial. Orange Cameroon also carrying out humanitarian activities through its Orange Foundation has launched a health program to support public health establishments in areas where it operates in the 10 regions of Cameroon. It began by donating medical equipment worth some 18 million francs CFA to the Nkwen District Hospital in Bamenda, precisely in Bamenda 3, and to the Naka Integrated Health Center in Bali, in the Northwest region, in order to grant equitable quality healthcare services to the local population, particularly vulnerable persons. Orange Foundation first targets the Northwest region, where the Anglophone crisis has caused chaos and increased pressure on the health facilities due to mass exodus from hot zones to areas with relative stability or calm. Innocent Aze tells us more.
Created in 2009, Orange Foundation's fidelity to its corporate social responsibility program in the different decentralized territorial collectivities where Orange Cameroon operates grows super stronger, impacting thousands of lives through its groundbreaking philanthropy in several domains of national life.
Orange Foundation has different domains of interventions. First, it will be in terms of supporting healthcare facilities. It will be in terms of supporting education, supporting digital inclusion, financial inclusion.
Health, they say, is wealth, and Orange Foundation is solidifying its solidarity pillars to enable children, women, and vulnerable persons have access to quality healthcare services.
Today we are here for our first domain of intervention, which is actually toward healthcare facilities. And today we are supporting hospitals in the northwest region. We are supporting 2 hospitals by donating equipment.
Orange Foundation, tossed by the difficulties to quality healthcare services faced by the population of this war-torn region, takes another giant step to empower district hospitals and integrated health centers with medical equipment. The Nkwen District Hospital and the Naka Integrated Health Center in Bali experiencing increased healthcare pressure as a result of mass exodus caused by the Anglophone crisis are the first health institutions to benefit this donation from Orange Foundation worth 18 million francs CFA.
Actually, we did an assessment with the heads of those healthcare facilities to understand what are the needs, and it's based on that we are donating those equipment.
These delegations, made up of the mayors, hospital officials, and elites, were accompanied to Orange Cameroon's head office in Douala by the representative of the Northwest Regional Delegate for Public Health.
I would say these donations of equipment are really timely because they come in at a time when our health facilities are struggling under the effect of the ongoing crisis.
He promised to ensure these medical kits from their reliable partner, Orange Foundation, is judiciously and effectively used.
We will supervise these health facilities to make sure that they utilize this equipment for the purpose for which it is intended.
Mayors of Bamenda 3 and Bali hailed the Orange Foundation for this huge, faithful partnership donation to empower and improve the capacity of the Nkwen District Hospital and the Naka Integrated Health Center, Bali.
Special thanks to Orange Foundation. This kind of gesture is very laudable and important for the population of Bamenda 3 municipality, given the fact that the population has skyrocketed as a result of the crisis in the northwest region.
Naka, that is beneficiary to today's gesture, has suffered a lot in terms of, destruction of property, scaring away workers, and so on. But today's gesture has rekindled hope.
Now 16 years old, Orange Foundation has carried out several of such and related philanthropic gestures in other localities in the 10 regions of Cameroon.
Interesting that now we treat you to news out of our national frontiers. 5 months to the presidential election in Cote d'Ivoire, the Coalition for a Peaceful Alternation and Opposition Alliance in Ivory Coast has called for dialogue with the ruling rally of the Republicans. With the election scheduled for October 25 this year, the coalition seeks to unite opposition factions to challenge the ruling majority. Meanwhile, by the year 2029 in Gabon will halt the export of raw manganese as part of a national strategy to enhance local industry and decrease dependency on unprocessed exports. Lucy Liengu is here with a foreign page roundup.
The opposition alliance known as the Coalition for a Peaceful Alternation in Cote d'Ivoire has called for political dialogue with the ruling rally of the Republicans, RODR, as the presidential election approaches in 5 months. Opposition leaders have condemned President Alassane Ouattara's potential run for a 4th term and expressed concerns about the exclusion of major political figures from the electoral list, especially Tidjane Thiam, the former CEO of Credit Suisse. Simone Gbagbo, the former First Lady and prominent opposition leaders, called for Ouattara to implement an amnesty law to enable broader political participation. With the presidential election scheduled for October 25, 2025, the Coalition for a Peaceful Alternation, formed to unite various opposition figures, is determined to challenge the ruling majority and advocate for a more inclusive political environment. In other news, Gabon is set to end the export of raw manganese by 2029, aligning with a national strategy to promote local industry and reduce reliance on unprocessed resource exports. This initiative was revealed by the government in a recent statement aiming to transform the country's economy, where manganese ranked among the top revenue sources alongside oil and timber. The Gabonese government's plan to prohibit crude manganese exports starting from January 1, 2029 is part of the goal to strengthen the country's industrial base, driven by President Brice Clotaire Oligui Nguema and his administration. By seizing raw manganese exports, Gabon seeks to enhance its domestic processing capacity, create skilled jobs, and capture more value from its natural resources. Also, the decision reflects a growing trend among African nations such as Guinea, Zimbabwe, Mali, and Tanzania, which are focusing on local processing rather than raw material exports.
We will be talking more on the news-making rally of the CRM political party in Paris, France, that would be in subsequent news editions. Viewers, thank you so much for being with us for the last 30 minutes. Thank you for your kind attention. Our program Equinoxe comes up in 30 minutes with Serge Alain, and the news in the French language with Julien Beth Bissai comes up at 8 p.m. Stay with us on Equinoxe Television. Bye-bye for now, and see you tomorrow, same time, God willing.